Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Dr. Eric Verellen. I am a naturopathic doctor, and today we are talking about the naturopathic philosophy. So, I asked the question again, what is naturopathy? Now, I know we discussed the breaking down of that word naturopathy in the last video, but we have a quote here from Benedict Lust. Naturopathy is a distinct school of healing, employing the beneficent agency of nature's forces of water, air, sunlight, earth power, electricity, magnetism, exercise, rest, proper diet, various kinds of mechanical treatment, and mental and moral science. As none of these agents of rejuvenation can cure every disease alone, the naturopath rightly employs the combination that is best adapted to each individual case. The result of such ministrations is wholly beneficent. The prophylactic power of nature's finer forces, mechanical and occult, removes foreign or poisonous matter from the system, restores nerve and blood vitality, invigorates organs and tissues, and regenerates the entire organism. Now, naturopathy has a few more principles that makes up this foundation. And we talked about a few of these in the last video. So we have first, do no harm. Natural does not always mean safe. Several poisons are natural. Dust and pollens are natural, yet can be harmful to those who are allergic to them. Therefore, naturopaths try not to recommend interventions that can cause harm. The next is the healing power of nature. This belief includes the concept that the body can heal itself of just about anything if clear of toxins and if given proper nutrition, rest, mental outlook, and natural stimulation. Naturopaths deal and work with the cause. Symptoms give an indication of the cause. Identify the cause and support is healing, and everything else will improve. Naturopaths work with the whole person and understand that there is a multifactorial nature of health and disease. Naturopaths believe in prevention. Prevention is the best cure. Regarding cure, modern naturopaths rarely use that term. Naturopaths and the modalities that we employ do not cure. The body cures itself. Naturopaths are facilitators. We try to identify the cause of the problems, eliminate toxins, recommend substances to deal with deficiencies, and stimulate the body's own natural healing abilities. So moving on to the next point here, everyone is different, biochemically, genetically, mentally, environmentally, and spiritually. Naturopaths do not believe that everyone with the same problem will benefit with the same solution. We have a quote from Dr. E.W. Cordingley. As cases vary, remedies must vary. What will help nature to cure one disease will only aggravate another. For this reason, a system that is truly electric or selective must be the ultimate healing art, and the one and the only one that can permanently endure. We have St. John's wort as an example. St. John's wort is helpful for mild depression. However, not everyone with mild depression will benefit from St. John's wort because the recommended interventions are varied from person to person. So almost think of it as when you look at your fingerprints, no two people have the same fingerprints. Everyone's fingerprints are different. You know, you can do the same with voices. No one's voice is the same. So St. John's wort can help someone with mild depression, but it's not a one-size-fit-all remedy. It's not going to help everybody with mild depression. You know, one person with mild depression may need St. John's wort, and someone else with mild depression may need something else. St. John's wort will not work for them. So everyone is different, so there's not one-size-fits-all remedy when it comes to natural medicine. Both Dr. Samuel Hahnemann and Dr. Lust advise avoidance of toxins in toxic environments. Dr. Hahnemann said the positive benefits of homeopathic remedies could be negated from exposure to toxic environments. Toxins plus antidotes do not equal no toxins. An example of this would be a headache for too much caffeine. While white willow bark and feverfew and other herbs may be good for headaches, but if the caffeine is not removed, then the herbs are not enough. We have Dr. V.M. Kulkarni, an Indian pioneer of naturopathy, came up with a few more principles of naturopathy. So the first principle of his is a healthy human body does not contain any poisons in it. The second, human beings do not get ill if they lead a natural life and take no poisons in their system. His third principle, they need no poisons to get cured when they get ill. The fourth, if blood is kept pure and vitality preserved, they continue to be healthy. Even if they inhale millions of microbes, the disease germs will perish as they cannot thrive in pure blood. And his fifth principle, but if the blood gets impure, even a single microbe will propagate millions of its species in the human bodies. Nay, even if they do not inhale a single disease germ, they will get some disease, with innumerable microbes peculiar to that disease, as microbes are scavengers of wise nature. All diseases, even so-called incurable ones, can be treated successfully with fresh air, pure water, bright light, and nature's food supply. No drugs, no poisons, no injections, nor any unnatural, drastic measures are needed in the treatment of disease according to naturopathy. I want to back it up to that fourth principle there. If blood is kept pure and vitality preserved, they continue to be healthy. Even if they inhale millions of microbes, the disease germs will perish as they cannot thrive in pure blood. Now that comes to a point that bacteria and viruses can only thrive and grow in the perfect condition. So if you are eating a lot of junk food and you tend to get sick a lot, all that junk food you're eating, you're not getting proper nutrients in your body, which then causes your body to be a perfect environment for viruses and bacteria to grow. It's not so much that the bacteria and viruses are causing you to get sick, it's more of the state of your body that's causing you to get sick, because then the viruses and bacteria can't grow. So we have quite a long quote here from Dr. E.W. Cordingley, so just bear with me on this one here. After having studied particularly all systems of healing and graduating in many of them, it can be said with some authority that naturopathy is the greatest healing system the world has ever known. It is the most comprehensive of all, and the members of naturopathic profession have found to be the most intelligent and broad-minded of any in the healing art. It will ever be thus that, as time goes on, the naturopath in even a greater measure be capable to rendering the greatest possible assistance to the sick and afflicted. As we review the history of the healing art, we find that mankind is constantly delved into methods of eradicating human disorders that lead away from unnatural drugging and tend towards nature. The theories that have been advanced regarding the cause of disease are legion. Wrong chemical combinations, germs, impingement of nerves, wrong habits of eating, faulty mental states, and a host of others have been held responsible as the sole cause of disease by a host of enthusiastic disciples. However, after all is said and done, it must be admitted by any fair investigator that each single system has its shortcomings. Each method will accomplish some good, but no single method is infallible. For this reason, the more intelligent among those who are devoting their attention to the prevention and cure of disease have come to realize that a perfect system must include all natural, non-drug methods insofar as each one is adapted to an individual case. As cases vary, remedies must vary. What will help nature to cure one disease will only aggravate another. For this reason, a system that is truly eclectic or selective must be the ultimate in healing arts, and the one and the only one that can permanently endure. It is not necessary to discuss the systems that depends upon the administration of drugs. Learned medical authorities are practically all agreed that drugging is an unnatural practice and that drugs possess no power to heal, to cure. Some of them may seem to be of some value temporarily in relieving symptoms or killing pain, until nature is enabled to effect a cure, but doubtful if it is hardly ever desirable to administer such poisons that are so much a variance with nature. For that reason, this treatise deals only with natural drugless methods of healing, and those natural systems, whatever they may be called, single branch, practitioners, are, after all, simply a part of the complete and composite system known as naturopathy. We have another quote here from Dr. Lust. Naturopathy is a mother, all-inclusive of natural therapy. It is the basic platform of all healing. Without it, any healing art will be a failure. Naturopathy is the only healing system that is not a cult, nor a fanatical narrow creed, nor a system controlled by one man, one or one group. It is the science of nature, the biological way of living right, the natural way to cure. All other systems, if they are biologically correct, must belong to naturopathy or nature cure. And if contrary to nature, superstitious, dangerous, criminal in their practices and results, they are sure to belong to regular medicine, regular licensed quackery. Now, we will get into that word quackery later, but I do find it funny that Dr. Lust is throwing the quackery name back at the medical system. In our last video, we talked about the Golden Jubilee meeting of 1947, and they came up with some standards for naturopathy. At the Golden Jubilee meeting of 1947, the following standards were drawn up for the practice of naturopathy. The first being that the body, under normal natural conditions, is a self-sustaining organism. The theory of health and disease is based on nature itself. The body is governed by the definite natural laws with regard to the physical, chemical, biological, and physiological basis. Ill health is therefore, as a result of departure from healthful living out of harmony with nature's laws. To the degree that man adheres to and applies nature's beneficial laws, to that degree will the body, through its natural inherent powers, restore itself to normal. Naturopathy is a philosophy, art, and science, and recognizes the body's inherent process of healing, and acts in no way to suppress, antagonize, or hinder these vital life forces, but rather to arouse, assist, and cooperate with the body to a restoration to normal. To this end, naturopathy proceeds as follows. It makes use of the healing properties of such natural agencies as air, sunshine, water, light, heat, electricity, manipulations, rest, natural vital foods, organic vitamins, organic minerals, herbs, in conjunction with the cleansing and eliminating process of other physical and mental cultures. Naturopathy does not make use of synthetic or inorganic vitamins or minerals, or of drugs, narcotics, surgery, serums, vaccines, antitoxins, toxoid, injections, and inoculations. Naturopathy also provides for the prevention of disease and the preservation of health by teaching the basic fundamental laws of natural living and the application in daily life. So I want to back it up to that 8th principle there, where it talks about naturopathy does not make the use of synthetic or inorganic vitamins or minerals or of drugs. When you go to your regular medical doctor and they prescribe you a vitamin or a mineral, and you go to your pharmacist and you pick up that vitamin or mineral, those are a majority of the time synthetic and inorganic vitamins and minerals, which are complete opposites of natural vitamins and minerals. For example, iron. We can't just go eating actual iron and expecting to have the required iron within our bodies. That's just not how it works. How it truly works is that you have all these natural inorganic minerals in the soil. And what happens is the plants that are all around us actually are able to break down those minerals into a form called chelated minerals, which is then the organic part of the mineral that we can consume. So the plant absorbs these minerals, turns it into a chelated form. We then, if the plant is edible, gather that plant and we eat it. Well, then the chelated form of that mineral was within that plant. We eat that plant. We then receive that organic mineral, vitamin and or mineral, depending on what the plant is. And that's how we get our source of these vitamins and minerals. It's not the synthetic stuff. It's not the inorganic stuff. So definitely be on the lookout next time, your doctor prescribes you a vitamin or mineral. Look to see what kind of vitamin or mineral that is. So continuing on with the Golden Jubilee, these standards should be adopted by all naturopaths. This does not mean naturopaths must always be against all surgery, medications, etc., but that naturopaths should not employ those modalities. And that's definitely a good point. And it was mentioned earlier how medications should be used as a temporary use, which a part of me agrees and disagrees. And it all depends on the individual case, as we discussed earlier. When it comes to emergencies or surgeries, yes, the temporary use of medications is necessary. When it comes to someone coming down with, a cold or running a fever or, something small and acute like that, I do not find it necessary for them to receive pharmaceutical antibiotics, because one of the issues is that antibiotics kill all the bacteria in your body. Now, within our body, we have both good and bad bacteria. It's just how nature works. The good bacteria is mainly in our gut and our digestive tract, which is necessary for our immune system and to help break down food in our digestive system. And then there's the bad bacteria that if it overgrows in the right conditions, that it causes people to get sick. Now, sure, you can take that antibiotic and it clears out all the bacteria, kills all the good and the bad. Now, one of the issues is when a medical doctor prescribes an antibiotic and you take that, that's the end of it. There's no other recommendations that they give. Now, that's one of the biggest mistakes that is made, because once you deplete all your bacteria in your body, well, then your immune system declines a bit. Your digestive system declines a little bit. And sure, your body may get some good bacteria back, but clearing out all bacteria just gives the bad bacteria an opportunity to get into your system again, and it has more room to grow and spread. So, as a naturopathic doctor, I would recommend, if someone takes an antibiotic, that when they're done taking that antibiotic, they start supplementing a probiotic to reintroduce good bacteria back into their system so that their immune system can increase and their digestive system isn't negatively impacted. So, off my spiel there for a little bit. Dr. Burr Madsen had a practical observation on this subject when she wrote, "Even if naturopathy was the accepted form of medicine in this country, we would still need allopathic medicine both for emergencies, surgical procedures, and for pharmaceutical industry, simply because of the demand for instant, lazy ways out is so enormous. Even though naturopaths do not believe in drugs, if the patient has lived a life that has been so abusive to his body, then invasive intervention may be necessary to save the person's life, with the hopes that they will then learn to respect the human body and stop the abuse." A couple points within her quote here. she is absolutely correct that, still need the allopathic medicine for both emergencies and surgical procedures. Um, when she says, and for the pharmaceutical industry, I just, I don't know how much I agree with that. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what she's saying with that part of it. Um, I'm not a big fan of the pharmaceutical industry for one of the main points is that they're just money hungry. I'm just going to put that out there simply. And then she continues her quote here because the demand for instant, lazy ways out is so enormous. That is 100% the truth. A lot of people are looking for a quick fix. They got a headache, grab a quick fix. They got some leg pain, a quick fix. It's one of the problems with the medical and pharmaceutical industry is that everyone just wants a quick fix. That quick fix is not solving the core issue that you're having. Why are you getting headaches? Why are you getting leg pains? What is causing that issue? What is the root cause? And that's what a lot of naturopaths look for is the root cause of your problem. Well, why are you getting headaches? Did you drink enough water? Because me personally, I used to get these horrible headaches right in the back of my head going down my neck. And it got to the point where I started making a habit of drinking more water. And all of a sudden those headaches went away. And I noticed that days that I don't drink water, I'll get that headache. So is your headache a lack of you drinking water? Or, it could be something else. Who knows? And then the last point I want to make on her quotes. Then invasion intervention may be necessary to save the person's life, which I agree with that. But then she has, with the hopes that they will then learn to respect the human body and stop the abuse. One of the main issues with that is that a lot of people who trust the medical system, they don't do this. Yeah, there are some that do this. They, have a wake-up call from whatever severe issue that they're having that requires medical intervention. They have a wake-up call and, hey, I need to take better care of my body. And that's great. That's awesome. But a majority of people, they don't do this. They have an issue. They go to the doctor. Either a surgery happens, some invasive intervention happens. And, they heal up. Their body heals up what it can. And then these people just go back to the habits that they were doing beforehand. They don't change. They don't learn to respect their bodies. And so they fall into the same trap where then they get sick again, go back to the medical system. It's just a wash, rinse, repeat sort of ordeal. So moving on here. Also, most naturopaths believe that each individual is responsible for making decisions about his or her own health. Meaning that, people shouldn't be pushed to make medical decisions. It should be their own medical decision. One of the important parts of this line right here is when during COVID, the government was trying to make it mandatory for people to take a vaccination. Well, it should be people's own decision whether they decide to get injected or not. And vaccines will be a whole nother topic we talk about at some point in the future. But, it should be people's decision whether or not they want to take a prescription medication or not. It should be up to the person whether they want to choose medical, which, even though I may not agree with a majority of the medical stuff, people have a right to choose. They can, if they want to go to the medical system, fine, be it. There's nothing I can do about it. And if people want to go the natural route, awesome, that's amazing. So it's really up to people to make their own decisions. Medical decisions should not be pushed upon people. They should be given the option, but it shouldn't be pushed. Naturopathic doctors do not prescribe treatments for disease. Naturopaths educate and inform their clients about natural health and some of the options of which they know. However, the reality is that not all individuals are willing to shoulder responsibilities for their own health and thus not all individuals are ready for naturopathy, which we discussed that with Dr. Madsen's quote there, and which is absolutely true. There's plenty of people that, naturopaths will try to help, but if the person isn't willing to help themselves, if they're not willing to do the work, then they're not going to heal the natural way, and therefore they're not ready for naturopathy. There's a lot of people that have come to me looking for a quick fix remedy. I obviously refuse to give, because for me personally, because we discussed this, like, cases vary, so remedies vary, for each individual person. I've made this mistake a handful of times, that, people come to me, well, what would help with this issue? Well, I can give them a recommendation, but I'm blindly giving them a recommendation because they don't want to sit down with me so that I can figure out what's the root cause of their issue and what would work best for healing, for them to heal. And so they come to me, well, what would work for this? And I would blindly give a recommendation that may or may not work. Well, they would, then try it. Well, then they'd come back, well, this isn't working. And they want, what else would work for this? But they just want free information, and they want that quick fix, which there's no quick fix in naturopathy. So when people come to me and they, well, what's good for this? I can't give them an answer anymore. I also refuse to give an answer because there can be 100 different remedies for a single issue, and maybe only one of 99, or maybe only one remedy out of that 100 is going to work for them, and the other 99 won't. So I'm not going to sit there and keep recommending, 100 different remedies until I get the one right. I would rather sit down with that person, find out what they need, find that one out of 100 remedies, and give that to them so that they can help their body heal. And now we are getting into the use of the word quacks in referring to naturopaths. Naturopaths have been called quacks for a long time. Around 100 years ago, Dr. Schwenninger, one of the most celebrated allopathic doctors of his day, said, "The medical profession is losing its prestige, and any thinking person must know why. We ourselves are mostly at fault, but the driver curses the bad road if he upsets his car when drunk. The child beats the table against which he has bumped his head, and the doctor blames the quack who robs him of the esteem of men. We read daily articles of anger and warnings as to the ways of wise women. Constant accounts appear of the evils wrought by incorrect diagnosis, yet patients consult the quacks, and men like Connie and Gloss have the most important practices in the kingdom. How is this? Are people really so foolish that they think the quack cleverer than the doctor? Surely not. Where there is a choice between sour, cheap wine and damaged champagne, we choose the former, and in the same way, the person whom the doctor has deceived goes to the quack. The mockery of prescriptions is so obvious the chemist alone believes in them now, for this faith is in his income. Patients know that there is quackery in the profession, and that they would rather trust themselves to the quack, follows the dictates of nature, and to homeopathy, rather than to apothecaries, poisonous, mixtures prescribed by diplomated doctors. When Muller Sr. dies, Dr. Crow says that he was wrongly treated by Dr. Smith, but then the latter can tell how Dr. Crow used cold water frictions for Mrs. Werner, who was consumptive. So long as medical men put into practice the old saying of the pot calling the kettle black, it is natural that patients who go to quacks, and that the latter will write them all down as fools, and it is we who thus drive the public to quacks. Who now is the quack? What right have we to persecute any other medical practitioner as if he were a murderer? Who instituted the water treatment? Presnitz, a quack? Who originated hygienic gymnastics? Ling, a quack? How about these and all other quacks who caused the lame to walk, cured women's diseases which were considered incurable by us, and taught us all about massage and muscular exercise? Presnitz, Hessing, Ling, Wold, Brand, Knipe, and Thomas will leave their mark indelible in the history of the art of healing ever longer, after our most celebrated names have been forgotten. Despised homeopathists have proven that patients need not swallow the contents of a chemist's shop, poisonous drugs, to get well. Yet, we still despise natural means of healing, but these will drive allopathic medical science to the wall. Day will come when its teachers will no longer be looked upon with scorn. So Dr. Schwenninger is absolutely correct. He's pretty much putting the blame on medical doctors for, their patients going to naturopaths, or as they call them, quacks. And his last quote there, where he says, "Yet we still despise natural means of healing, but these will drive allopathic medical science to the wall, and the day will come when its teachers will no longer be looked upon with scorn." Pretty much saying that, and especially with this whole quote, he is saying that there will come a point where the medical system will no longer be trusted, and naturopaths won't be looked on as such, horrible people anymore. And he's absolutely right. At this point in time in our history, a lot of people are no longer trusting the medical system. They're no longer trusting their doctors. They're no longer trusting the pharmaceutical industry. A lot of people are wanting a different way of health. People are out there looking for it. Especially with, in my first video, my story, I watched as the medical system, failed me. They didn't help me with finding out what was really causing my seasonal allergies, and they just sent me home with a prescription. That didn't help me at all. That didn't find the core issue. And so, I was introduced to another mean of healing. And a lot of people today are looking for it. And I really noticed the rise of people no longer trusting their doctors and the pharmaceuticals ever since COVID-19. A lot of people no longer trust the medical system at all. The tides are turning. In more recent times, it has been written, quacks contend that most health problems are caused by poor nutrition and therefore can be corrected with proper nutrition. Quacks claim that natural vitamins are better than synthetic ones. Quacks use hair analysis and other unproven diagnostic tests to detect alleged deficiencies. So then we have the question, what is a quack? Quack is actually defined as an untrained person who practices medicine fraudulently. Well, for one, naturopaths, they're not untrained and they don't practice medicine. Any person who pretends to have knowledge or skill that he does not have in a particular field, a charlatan. So naturopaths, legitimate naturopaths, don't pretend. What do we have to pretend about? There's nothing to pretend about. And finally, quack is almost always used of a fraudulent or incompetent practitioner of medicine. Again, we, don't practice medicine. We're not fraudulent or incompetent. It's just all silly. The way they're terming, quacks and, putting it on naturopaths. So thus, if naturopathy is analyzed according to the mainstream dictionary, its beliefs and practices are not quackery, So why are we still subject to this type of persecution? Some simply do not like the ideas for which naturopathy stands. It was actually written that the best strategy to avoid entanglement with an unqualified nutritionist is to avoid all practitioners who sell supplements in their offices or espouse the statements listed. Thus, all naturopaths, people who have different opinions or wish to exercise their constitutional rights, are unqualified nutritionists, according to this like of thinking. What is striking is how most tips to spot quacks are often contradicted by others in the mainstream. Yet self-appointed guardians of the status quo feel justified in teaching people to improperly label others. Be it as it may, naturopaths should understand what we have been and probably will continue to be criticized just for being who and what we are and what we believe. I know in the past I have heard people call naturopaths witch doctors, or I remember I heard someone say, I don't want to participate in that voodoo magic. And it's just like, what? That is the main, philosophies of naturopathy. We kind of went down on some spiels there and, got into the name of quackery against naturopaths. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want, you can follow me on X at Dr. Eric Verellen. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Stay healthy, everyone.